Our topic is on Waffle House Management. My name is Devan Lejnieks.
And I'm Rachael Zicari.
So given that we are talking about management, we found it necessary to kind of define management and give some examples of both good and bad management. So management is the process of designing and maintaining an environment in which individuals working together in groups efficiently accomplish selected goals. This is important in order to motivate employees and make sure that things get done properly and smoothly. Further, a manager is someone who coordinates and oversees the work of other people so that organizational goals can be accomplished.
Okay, so before we go into the good versus bad management, we just wanted to discuss the 5 principal functions of management, which are planning, organizing, staffing, coordinating, and controlling. So planning, you're going to identify your goals and figure out the best way that you want to achieve them. And organizing will be assigning responsibilities to the members of your staff to figure out what skills they need to have in order to complete your goal. Staffing is just going to be hiring the right people for this, and coordinating is going to be supervising and communicating through your management skills. And controlling this is going to be monitoring their performance and comparing it with past experience and progress in order to make sure that you're on the right track.
Before you get into that, you use the word management. What's the difference between a manager and a leader? Is a manager always a leader?
I would say no, a manager is not always a leader, because I've had work experiences where you've had to as an employee, not as a manager, where you've had to figure it out for yourself rather than a manager helping you. A manager doesn't always help you out and doesn't always lead, while a leader takes initiative and takes responsibility all the time. While a manager, they should be doing that, but maybe they don't always do that. That's just my opinion.
Okay, so now for some examples of good versus bad management. Examples of a good manager includes encouraging team building, setting goals, being a good communicator, being a leader, and taking responsibility. While bad management can include playing favorites, being indecisive, being intimidating, being mistrusting, and having no clear goal established.
Have either of you experienced that?
For sure. I've always had a job in retail, and I've had more experiences with bad managers than good, unfortunately. And the reason why we put these examples is because it's stuff that I've experienced and Rachael has as well.
Well, how does it make you feel when you have a bad manager as individuals?
Personally, it made me feel kind of clueless and almost anxious about my job because I didn't have someone telling me when I'm doing something wrong. There was no real goal in the workplace, so I was kind of operating like on my own wit 24/7.
Okay. Rachael?
In general, I've had some pretty good managers throughout my working experience. However, I guess I've had one where they were just passive aggressive and it wasn't really enjoyable to be working there. So it just made me feel a little frustrated, and then I just didn't like the feeling that I was being watched and judged without any feedback. It was just kind of like dirty looks and things like that.
Why do you
But
think
that
people
hasn't
do that?
What'd you say?
That seems like, why do you think people do that?
For this manager personally, she just kind of I feel like she just didn't care by the end, and she would just be annoyed and too frustrated, and there was too much going on for her to deal with it properly. I think that was just her personally, and she's not very good at handling the stress.
Okay.
But it's okay. I mean, we still get things done. It's just everyone's scared of her kind of thing.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what Waffle House actually is. It's a restaurant chain that's highly popular in the South. We don't really have many up here. We might have some in Pennsylvania maybe. But it's, in the southern states, very popular. They're open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and they make that a point to be open all days of the year, including through storms and everything like that. One of the indexes even uses them as kind of how they're able to tell how bad a storm is, because Waffle House likes to stay open so that people can have relief in their restaurant. And if they're closed, that means the storm is really, really bad. And they're kind of similar to a Denny's or an IHOP, kind of a chain. They're not really known for anything special on their menu, I guess, just the generic breakfast items, and they have fast service. And I think people just go there kind of for the fast service and a later morning, late night kind of activity because they're open 24 hours a day.
Okay. Neither of you have been to one?
I've been to one in North Carolina, I believe. It was just dirty, but it was fine. It was fine. It was a fine experience, I guess. It was kind of dirty.
Okay. It did what you wanted. Quick, fast food.
Yeah, I think we were like on a road trip, so it was fine.
Okay.
So now to get into the specifics of management at Waffle House. The biggest thing that stood out about Waffle House was the management team. The managers had to be readily available as the store is open 24/7 and store emergencies can happen at any time. It was even stated by some of the employees that work at Waffle House that managers at Waffle House generally don't dump work on other people, take more credit than they deserve, or pretend to be nicer than they are just to get something. So this kind of shows that managers were really well respected by the employees, which can go a long way in the workplace.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the skills gained at Waffle House. So one of them is speed, and that's because they have to tend to customers and employees at whatever pace is necessary. So when there's a large rush, the managers have to step in, maybe help cook the food or wait on tables or bus, anything like that. And endurance is they may have to do this for an extremely long amount of time, especially if someone did a no-call, no-show. They have to kind of pick up the lack and do what they can. And then also that they have to be there. They have to be on call a lot of the time, considering it is a 24-hour open store. So if there's a store emergency late at night, then they may have to come in later or just be readily available. They have to have patience. One of the managers in the article mentioned that some customers treat her like a therapist or overly flirtatious or rude or occupied or something like that. So you just have to make sure that you can take these things, you don't take it personally, everything like that. And one of the managers also said that it's about being prepared for anything and not having one answer key to deal with life. I think that's helpful. What'd you say?
So what should you be prepared for?
I would just say it sounds like it's a pretty hectic place to work, which I work at Panera, so I understand the food rush and everything like that, although I've never worked in a full restaurant kind of. Like Panera is more of a fast food. So I do understand the speed and the customers being frustrating when they don't get what they want, which can be a lot to handle. You have to make sure everything's clean, everything's up to code, everyone is doing things up to code. And their goal is to have things out in less than 8 minutes, I believe, all of their food. So that's just there's just a lot going on. I feel like that they have to deal with on top of, regular manager things like scheduling and dealing with employees and all of that.
Devan, what should you be prepared for?
So I think the biggest thing when working in food is honestly preparing for the inevitable. With having loads of customers, you kind of have to meet the needs of every single customer that walks in the door, and you're not going to know exactly what that is. So I think the biggest thing is being prepared for that, like being prepared to do X, Y, and Z for each customer that walks in the door.
Okay, you weren't a scout, were you?
What?
Were you a Boy Scout?
No, I was not.
Okay, because if you were in scouting, the founder of the Boy Scouts said when asked what should you be prepared for, his response was any old thing.
Huh.
So I think that's essentially what you were saying. You got to be prepared for everything because you don't know what's going to hit you.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, so just to finish up her quote, she was just saying that it, excuse me, she says that it's helpful and it builds resilience and resourcefulness. And then for the empathy skill gained, the managers can't just say they're at the top of the chain, they don't have to help out with anything else, when in reality they do have to dig in, maybe help out doing some dishes, bussing, waiting on tables, all of that kind of thing.
Okay.
So in terms of the management team portraying their skills on a resume, we kind of had to think about the best way to create a resume. So when building a resume, you want each bullet to have a purpose, and you want each to show a skill that you have. So we found that discussing the skills on the previous slides would be important.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, putting down about like filling in every role that Waffle House needs. So meaning being a well-rounded and super adaptable worker.
Okay.
And then one of our questions was, could Waffle House managers succeed at every other retail job in America? And we said in general, yes. It seems like they're able to handle a wide variety of challenges that they face every day. And they show good adaptability, and the skills that it teaches you are aligned with the skills that you need in every other job. So the skills mentioned before about speed, endurance, patience, resilience, responsibility, all of that kind of thing. And since Waffle House seems like it's very difficult and there's a wide range of skills, we've determined that the manager should be able to do well at all other retail jobs.
Sure. Makes sense.
So now to talk about promotion at Waffle House. So Waffle House promotes their employees from within, and Waffle House managers can make over 100,000 and receive stock options after working in a manager role for 5 years. They also receive bonuses for having low employee turnover. Um, all of these reasons help to motivate the managers to do the best they can and to work on retaining their employees. Some disadvantages is that this process takes several years, therefore, workers may not last that long. Um, they also may sacrifice other aspects of the job in order to get their bonuses. An example of this would be not letting go or firing bad workers in order to keep the employee turnover low to ensure that they could have this promotion.
$100,000 isn't bad.
No, I would say that's relatively good for managing a Waffle House.
Yeah, for being out 5 years. Wait a minute, that's not bad.
Yeah, that is pretty great.
Why do you think they pay so much?
After reading the article and kind of researching Waffle House, I think a reason why they could make so much is just because how difficult the job is, and the fact that they're open 24/7, 365 days a year. So they kind of have to revolve their whole life around this job because they could be needed at any instant. So I think they have to be compensated for that to want to do that and be motivated to do that.
Okay. Would it be something you'd want to do?
Personally, no, I would not be too interested in it. But I mean, after hearing that dollar figure amount, I mean, I might consider it.
Okay. So do you think, how does money fit into this whole thing?
Um,
Do you think, I mean, is that a motivator for you?
I think for most people, money is certainly a motivator, as much as we like don't like to admit it. But I think certainly money does motivate people to work harder.
Okay.
Um, even in that in the red bead experiment that we did,
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked about money being a motivator, and we all kind of agreed that bonuses help to, you know, motivate the employees to work harder.
Okay. Great.
So for our last slide, we just talked about how Waffle House may select these managers because obviously they're going to be compensated well, and you want to make sure that it's worth it. So we said that having a required set of skills to achieve all of these goals and make sure everything is calm and getting done in Waffle House should definitely be required. And hard workers and leaders that have been with the company for a long time and have shown their commitment, and that they're not giving up and they're not calling in sick or calling it, well, they can call in sick, but like not just taking off random days all the time. A hard worker, someone like that. And we also would want them to have people who are ready to take on challenges so that they can deal with the challenges that they'll be faced with day to day and set some goals, make sure everything's happening smoothly. And then we also said friendly people who thoroughly enjoy working with others, as this is not a job for fake people. If you're an introverted person and you're in a manager role, it's just not going to work out well for you because you have to deal with people all the time, and you don't want to be fake friendly because people can see right through that. You want to be someone that thoroughly enjoys working with others.
Okay. What did you guys learn from doing this, either about yourselves or about a process of that, looking at an article and drawing some conclusion?
I learned a lot about, first off, Waffle House in general, but I did learn, it made me think harder about managers in these kinds of position, like stores where they have to actually deal with all of this, and it makes you take a second look at how everything is going. Okay. And with for the manager part, just like selecting managers are very important, and you want to take into consideration how they are as an actual person, not just how they are to the customers. You want to make sure they're a genuinely nice person and have the right kind of mindset, because you don't want to hire someone just for those bonuses so that they're not, so that they're kind of promoting like the company goals and vision and representing the company in the proper way.
Okay, good. Devin?
I think going through this and kind of studying management a little bit, I learned that management, no matter what level it's at, can be similar in a lot of ways, like the way they kind of conduct and operate their workplace. So meaning a good manager at one job could potentially be a good manager at another.
Because it's the process they're engaging in.
Right.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
I want to try Waffle House.
Okay. We'll do that. Okay, thank you.
We'll do that.